Phase 3. We are a HR and tech business. We have a payroll bureau along with other parts where we help with kind of system selection and professional services in many different systems. Head of managed services, so obviously all our payroll bureau and anything that's a managed service. And by managed service, I mean anything that is on a long-term contract rather than just an ad hoc piece of work. I've worked at Phase 3 for just over 7 years. Started as a consultant, working in different consultant roles and working on many payrolls. Around probably 3 years ago, we had our own payroll system. We quickly outgrew this and it wasn't fit for purpose for the size of the business we were becoming and also the complexity of the pays we were having. So we went out to tender and we looked at several different payroll systems. We had a whole spec against this that we wanted it to do, and there was a big list. We, in the end, settled on Brain Payroll because of the features it had and how it compared to the last system we had. And also we can see the growth that it will allow us to do because it is unlimited. Brain is a cloud-based solution, and also more than one person can be processing at one time. So we can have a couple people in the same payroll, editing different pay slips, changing employee records, and so on. So that helped. The last system didn't do proration. So for starters, leavers, mid-month changes, it didn't automatically prorate salary. Brain does this. So Brain prorates the salary for starters, leavers, mid-month changes, and it's all based on the rules. So it can be a 365th, it can be a 260th, it can be yearly, it could be monthly. Brain basically has every variation that we set the system to. Once it's set, it then prorates. The cloud-based is key for us because we're based all over the country. So there's just over 25 people in the payroll team, and we're based up and down the country. So to have a cloud-based solution just makes sense rather than a desktop install. With a desktop install, you get sync issues if two people are trying to go in the same one at once, which can be a real issue. The other thing that really steered us towards Brain was the full functionality. So basically, you have Brain, but you get everything. So a key thing for us is it does P11Ds, where a lot of systems we work with, P11Ds is a bolt-on system, so it's an extra, but for us, it includes everything we need. The real key features of implementation is Brain's ability to scrape the FPS XML. So what that means, to kind of break it down and why we like it, is if you can provide your FPS files, we put them into the system. It scrapes the data to load year to date. So say I'm implementing a payroll in June. If I get the April and May FPS and load them in the system, as I've already loaded the employees in, it scrapes the data, it pulls in the year to dates and it loads it against them. This means the employee doesn't have to fill out long sheets because, as you know, for implementation in the FPS, you have NI thresholds that they have to fill in. There's tax thresholds, there's pension. So it scrapes that data and it uses it. The next part then is when we run that June parallel run, we can use the June FPS XML file again, and it will do a comparison. So it will compare what's in Brain to what the legacy system was based on that XML, which makes the parallel run much easier. We had some great training from Ashil. She did a great job and it is very, very helpful and very knowledgeable. So what we did was we started by implementing our own payroll and running our own payroll for a few months, just so we understood the process of how it worked before we moved other customers across. Once we had that under our belt and we felt the ease of running them, we just moved several customers a month across to the new system. Copy your payrolls, that's the start of your process. Do your temp input, move from draft to ready. It can be authorized, sign it off, run your report pack, check your reports. It then tells you it's time to run the backs. Once you've run your backs, it gives you the next option of FPS. It basically guides you through the process. So it's really simple to understand. Every implementation has its up and downs. I don't think any of them have gone smoothly, and that's, maybe customers' data, it's maybe the way we've loaded something, it's maybe the way that system reads something. I haven't got anything kind of specific to hand, but what I can say is we have a great relationship with the help desk. So if there was an error, or if I didn't understand what I was doing, or it was a new module, or I needed training, I can contact the help desk and they reply very quick. So we've worked with other vendors where they say a response within 48 hours and maybe a resolution within a week. When you're running a payroll, you don't want that because it's not possible. So the relationship we have with Brain is we raise a ticket through the support portal. And if it's urgent, I'll say it's urgent and I'll say it's critical. I'll say, you know, the customer's pay date is the end of this week. It needs to be resolved ASAP. Actually, someone will either reach out via an email to say, when are you free? We'll do a Teams call. Or actually, some of the support team use Teams. So they actually just ping me on Teams to say, have you tried this? Try this. If not, share your screen and we'll go through it. So they're really responsive, but the support team are always there. And I think that's a real key thing because, like I said, some of these other systems we work with, the support isn't great and can take a long time. So, you know, we are very responsive, and they're always come back and very helpful. It's helped us to improve our efficiencies, and we're improving efficiencies all the time. So the last system we used didn't always allow you to upload everything into the system. Brain Payroll, you can upload everything. So you can upload your employees, you can upload changes, so leave date, address, bank account. You can upload any permanent element, so that be salary, that be shift allowance, anything. You can upload all your temp data. You can change branches, departments, cost codes, all that via an upload. So what we do with the customer is we give them an Excel sheet and it has a tab across the bottom. So be it starters, leavers, changes, salary, temp input. And the other good thing about the uploads is it doesn't have to be in CSV. So we can load that full Excel workbook in and you load it in for new starters and it says select the tab. So we select the starters tab. We then do the changes. Which tab do you select? The changes. We do salary, you select the salary tab. So those things are really efficient because, one, we're not typing it in, which can be time consuming. We're uploading, which takes minutes. The second is that it's accurate. So, you know, everybody's human. I could type an address wrong. I could type a salary wrong. But if I'm going from the customer's typed it onto the spreadsheet and I'm loading the spreadsheet direct into the system, it means it's accurate, 100% accurate. So there's no room for error. So those efficiencies are great. I actually say I have a favorite report in Brain, and everybody always laughs to say, you know, kind of, why do you have a favorite payroll report? What I do. So it's the summary variance report. And the reason I love it so much is it gives you high level every single pay code, including employers, so like pension, NI, tax, everything, this month versus last month, a percent difference and a cash difference. So at high level, I can see, is there any anomalies in there within 5 minutes of looking over. If I then see, okay, overtime's 20,000 more than last month, why is that? There's a second tab on it and it breaks it down by employee. So I go to overtime 1.5 and it does the same thing. This month, last month, cash difference. So, you know, I stand by that. I have a favorite payroll report, and, you know, if people laugh at that, you know, I'll take that. I'm happy to have a favorite payroll. Yeah, so I had a P11D issue. So I was loading the P11Ds in via the data load, and it came up with like an unexpected error message, and it wouldn't load the system in. So there was about 1,000 lines on the report. So I'm not going to type it in. So contacted support and went through it with them. They gave me a couple of options that didn't work. So I went back and said that hadn't worked. But what happened was, again, they got me on Teams. We did a screen share session. They saw the error. They then could replicate it. And what they did was they released a patch into our environment the next morning before UK kind of time. So it's like 6:30 in the morning. I came in the next day, went to load it, and it worked perfectly. So that is kind of the speed that they work at to fix things. And, you know, they're always very helpful. I would say that the area that needs some improvement and that would really help us out is absence, and probably specifically occupational absence. So there is some occupational absence in there, kind of quite simple rules, but I think it just needs taken to that next level of a couple more complex rules, a couple more different options, and I think reports on it. So for example, you've got someone on sick pay, they get 100% for 4 weeks and they get 50% for 4 weeks. Customers really like if they got an alert. So what they'd want is, if that person's on sick, maybe some sort of workflow or email, or even in the errors and warnings report to say, job logs on the 29th of May will run out of 100% pay, and on the 30th of April will run out of 50% pay and be SSP only. SSP only for. Yeah, so I think that some of the things that I've talked about, but I think the speed is key. As it's cloud-based, that is a great feature. It has the ability to copy thousands of payslips in probably minutes, where we have some other systems that people use and they set their payroll to calculate 5 o'clock at night, and by the time they come in at 9 o'clock in the morning, it's kind of only just finishing. You don't want that, because you make an error and you have to change it. That's a lot of time to calculate. So that is a great feature on Brain. The upload feature, where you can literally upload everything. And I would also say the reporting. I know I talked about the report pack, but there's other reporting in there. It's kind of custom reports, different reports, but anything that's in the system you can report on.